In the 1970s, we used phones like these to talk with friends and families, and we thought life wouldn't get any better. Julie and Harvey were both diagnosed with type 1 diabetes also in the 1970s. For them and others trying to control type 1 diabetes, they hoped life would get better.
Back in the 70s, there were not home glucose monitoring systems. There was no testing your blood sugar.
It was a much longer needle, and I will tell you that I ended up having kind of a needle phobia.
My mother had to boil the glass needles, and they were reused over and over again, and it was guessing.
Scenes like this are becoming commonplace in U.S. cities where cellular is available today.
In the 1980s, for a few $1,000s, you could own something new called a cell phone. Now we can talk from our cars for just $1 a minute. Life couldn't get any better. Ed was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in the 80s. He was told he could monitor his glucose with a meter like this. For Ed and others living with type 1, they hoped life could get better.
Back then, blood glucose monitors, the first one I used was about the size of a shoebox, I think. Almost had to have two people lift it up. But it was very cumbersome, but it was a start.
Have a time.
In the 1990s, cell phones got smaller and offered a new fad called texting. It seemed like life couldn't get any better. Megan was diagnosed with type 1 during the 1990s, and she was told she could control it with a new portable insulin pump.
When I went on the pump for the first 2 months, I was very depressed. Not because I didn't think that it was a great invention, and not that I didn't appreciate that it gave me more control over my diabetes, but because it was a device that was strapped to me 24/7.
Now in the 2000s, we have devices that allow us to record video, listen to music, video conference, and yes, still make phone calls, even from our wristwatch. However, people of every age are still being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Technology assists them in controlling their disease. However, they wish life could get a little better.
Well, my pump, I think that made diabetes a lot easier for me.
Now I just have to enter the number of carbs, and instead of guessing how many units it should give me, it actually gives me the correct amount of units based on number.
You don't have to give yourself a shot every time you eat as well.
As of today, JDRF is working to make type 1 type none.
JDRF funds so many tremendous research projects.
The scientific advances are amazing, and I believe in JDRF.
There's a tremendous number of vaccine studies that are going on now, so prevention is a big part of it.
Because of our research, we're moving closer to a day that living with type 1 diabetes will seem as distant as using a phone with a dial.
You can be and have a normal, healthy, happy life with diabetes, and JDRF is a huge proponent of that, and that's what they're here for.
JDRF continues to be the voice for those heroes who live with type 1, from our work in Washington, D.C. to right here in Central Ohio.
I know that people really care about this disease and finding a cure.
So now there's already a group trying to find a cure, and we're already so close already.
It would be freedom. It would mean that I could practice medicine again.
I have a disease that runs in the family. It's pretty strong. And I never want them to worry about it. I want them to know that we are working hard for a cure. We are working hard to end this disease.
This is Abby. She was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Through your generous financial support tonight, we hope to let Abby watch type 1 become type none in her lifetime. Then she and others like her can truly say life couldn't get any better.